Good morning to all. Myself, Dr. Yamani, Professor, Civil Department, Bihar. Now we are going to discuss the subject estimation and costing. Under the estimation costing, the contracts we are discussing now. The contracts units is having various subtopics. One is types of contracts. What are all the various types of contracts? Contract conditions, how to form contracts, then contract problems, then audit procedures and legal requirements. All these things we are discussing now in the upcoming slides. So what is contract? The contract form will be issued based on certain conditions. Now we are going to discuss about contract. What is the meaning of contract? For a contract to be valid, there must be an offer from owner in the form of tender notice to get some specific work to be executed. Must be acceptance from the contractor to execute that work. It is an offer and acceptance with some legal terms and conditions. So contract is an offer from the owner and acceptance from the contractor to execute a work. So what is contract documents? When a tender of a contractor is accepted, an agreement between the contractor and the owner take place. And the documents defining the rights and obligations of the owner and the contractor are attached to the agreement. And this is called a contract document. Each page of contract document, the owner and the contractor has to sign it. That is, each page of the document bears the signature of contractor and the accepting authority, and any corrections in it is initialed. So the types of contracts. What are all the types of contracts? Piecework contract, lump sum contract, turnkey contract, multi-stage contract including pre-qualifications and two-core systems, fixed rate contract, item rate contract, labor contract, material contract. So the turnkey contract is maybe BOOT or DBOOT. BOOT means build, own, operate and transfer. DBOOT means design, build, own, operate and transfer. So these are all the types of contracts. Now we can see the piecework contract and labor contract. What is piecework contract? The piece rate pay occurs when workers are paid by the owner. That is, for example, the number of T-sets or bricks produced. For each piece rate, the owner will pay, instead of being paid on the basis of time spent on the job. So how many numbers of T-sets supplied, that amount will be paid to the contractor. That is piecework contract. Or number of bricks, that will be paid instead of spending time on the job. Then what is labor contract? Contractor need to quote rates for item work exclusive of materials, which will be supplied by department at free of cost. Labor contract means only supply of labor alone. The material will be supplied by the department or owner on their own cost. Contractor need not supply because his work is only to supply labor alone through contracts. What are all the advantages of labor contract? Material stored by government are utilized, or material stored by owner can be utilized. If it is a government contract, that comes under government utilizations of materials. If it is private contract, the private contractor has to supply the materials. What are all the material he can store already can be utilized. So difficulty in obtaining certain materials in open market are easily obtained here. If the material is stored already, so that there is no need to have more and more difficulty to procure. Okay, what are all the disadvantages in the labor contract? Maybe delay in obtaining materials, because if a owner is supplying materials, he agreed. He may delay in procuring the materials. Hence, the contractor has to have contact in touch with the client regularly, so as to insist the requirements of materials and all. Large storage area is required for storing the huge quantity of materials. Refund of surplus material to the client without any damage. So these are all the disadvantages in the labor contract. Material contract. Here the contractor will supply materials alone. The contractor have to offer their rates for supply of required quantity of materials. It includes of local tax, carriage, and delivery charges to the specified storage within the time specified. Okay, what are all the advantages of material supply contract and disadvantages on this? Advantage: payment will be paid promptly. No need to worry due to loss of materials, breakages, etc. during transit. Okay, what are all the disadvantages? Quality check has to be done constantly. Contractors may negotiate and quote tender at higher prices. So this is the disadvantages. Quality has to be checked because the material supply, the supply of material is to be done by contractor. He may procure inferior quality material also to avoid the excess cost or to have more benefit. So often you have to check the quality of materials which is procured by the contractor. And contractor may negotiate and quote tender at higher prices. So these are all the problems in the material contract. The payment will be paid promptly, no need to worry to loss of materials, breakages, etc. during transit. All will be under the purview of contractor. Percentage rate tender. For small works and works of repetitive nature, this percentage rate of tender is will work out easily for small works and works of repetitive natures. The tenderer has to quote the rate on par with the estimate cost. The estimate cost will be given. The tenderer has to quote the rate based on the estimate cost. It may be on percentage. It may be the percentage above the estimate cost or percentage below the estimate cost. So the percentage the contractor has to quote the tender rate on percentage only based on the estimate cost, whether it is plus or minus or above the tender estimate cost or below the estimate cost. Payment is made for actual work done based on the measurements. Though the contractor is quoted in the percentage, the payment will be made only on actual work done, applying the rates or percentage what he quoted already. Example, wind-up contracts of headworks, sewage treatment plants and sewage pumping stations, etc. comes under percentage tender. Item rate tender. Owner indicates quantities and units only for all items of work to be carried out. Under this item rate tender, a tenderer quote rate for each individual items. So for how many items of work to be carried out, he has to quote for the individual items. The contractor has to quote for individual items. Payment is made for actual work done based on measurements. That is item rate contract. Lump sum contracts. The scope of work, construction, drawings, detailed specifications given in the tender along with the terms and conditions of contract. Schedule of quantities may or may not form part of tender. Schedule of quantities may or may not form a part of tender documents. The tenderer quotes a fixed price for whole work tendered. So whatever be the work the contractor has to do, he has to quote the whole work rate at a time. That is, it is a lump sum rate. There is no quantity-wise rate. There is no variation in the scope of work. This type of contract can be considered when the scope of work is frozen. Here the scope of work is frozen. So work is fixed, amount also lump sum. That is called lump sum contracts. Turnkey contracts. The contractor takes full responsibility for design, construction, commissioning, and maintenance, if necessary, for fixed lump sum price. So the turnkey contracts means the tender will be called for what? For design, construction, commission, and maintenance to certain period according to the requirement of owner or department. A bonus or penalty clause may be included as an incentive to the contractor to the work on time. So the turnkey contracts, bonus clause also included in the turnkey contracts. Okay, what is tender? Tender is an invitation from the owner to the contractor to execute some work at specified cost in specified time. So tender is an invitation from the owner to the contractor to execute some work at specified cost and specified time. It is published in the form of tender notice in newspapers. According to the value of tender, it is published in newspapers. And if it is less value, the tender notice is put in the notice board of department itself. It will publish in the gazettes also, etc., according to the cost of works. Open tender, sealed tenders. Open tenders, an oral talk or written document between the engineer and the contractor for certain small jobs to be performed. So if the work is very small nature, open tender they will call and they will fix the rate. Sealed tenders, they will invite the sealed tender quotations for important or huge projects. Wide publicity is given. Always written documents are made on this. The sealed tenders should be invited for huge work, huge projects having high value. For that, wide publicity also given by inviting tenders, and the notice inviting tender is to be published in the newspaper, and they will follow the procedures. So tender form. What is tender form? What is the tender form consist of? Tender form is a printed document. It consists general conditions of contract. That is, what are all the rules and regulations given by the department or private owner to the contractor. It is available in the tender form, and the tender form consists general description of work, estimate cost, earnest money deposit to be paid by the contractor, security deposit paid by the contractor, time limit in months, that is contract period, column for signature of contractor before submission of tender, signature of the witness of contractors, and signature of the officer by whom accepting the tenders. The price of tender form is given in the tender form itself. Then preparation of tender documents. The empty format, the standard format, approved format will be taken, and they have to prepare the documents. The notice inviting tender is to be one of the items that has to be included. Schedule of quantities of work to be done and materials, tools, and plans to be supplied by the department if any to be included in the tender document. Specifications, set of specifications should be included. One set of approved drawings also to be fixed with the document. All the documents are signed by the contractor page by page. Page forwarding letter to head of a contractor with a blank are put into the closed covers. And EMD is also one of the document to be enclosed. The cover is closed and dropped in the tender box of the department within the time limit mentioned in the notice inviting tender. So the name of work and the name of contractor are mentioned in the cover. That is information given in a tender document. The detailed information is furnished below. What are all the details furnished in the tender documents? One is notice inviting tender, layout plan, divisional locations, which is situated, schedule of quantities, nearest road or railway link, set of drawings, availability of materials in the vicinity, detailed specifications are reference to standard specifications for each item of work, complete architectural and structural drawings about the work, and schedule of tools and plans and other facilities to be made available, and the conditions, hire charges, all will be mentioned. Rate of supply of power and the point of supply also mentioned. Location of water supply point, time for completion and progress to be made at the interval of time is mentioned. Conditions regarding employment of technical persons, amount of EMD, and the form in which it is to be paid will also mentioned in the document. Then insistence on income tax and sale tax clearance certificate, amount of security deposit to be paid, mode of payment for work done, penalty conditions for slow progress and delay in completion of work, designation of arbitration authority in case of disputes, all will be informed in the tender document itself. Okay, the notice inviting tender consists what? If the work is very huge value, the contractor will come to know through notice inviting tender only. If it is published, the owner or department has to publish the notice inviting tender about the work to be carried out. Okay, what is the notice inviting tender consist? The name of the department inviting tender, name of work and location, designation of officer inviting tender, last date and time of receipt of tender, period of availability of tender document, cost of tender document, time of completion and time of contract, EMD, that is earnest money deposit to be paid, date and time and place of opening the tender, designation of the officer opening the tender, all will be available in the notice inviting tender. Publication of NIT, publication of notice inviting tender. That is NIT and tenders to be put in the notice board for procurement of values less than 25 lakhs. So these are all depends upon the values. The NIT has to be published in the state tender bulletin and trade journal, and also it has to be published in the newspaper. Earnest money deposit. EMD means amount required to be remitted by the tenderer along with the tender, indicating his willingness to implement the contract. EMD ordinarily not exceeding 1% of the contract value. It may be in the form of demand draft, banker's checks, or whatever be the specified form. Tender submitted without EMD in the approved form to be summarily rejected. So the EMD should be furnished. It is one of the main document should be enclosed with the tender. Procedure for settlement of tenders. So first we have to see the EMD, which is fixed, which is available in the tender document or not, that we have to check. Bid document with qualification criteria, we have to see notice inviting tender, opening of tender, all the procedures we have to follow. After receiving the tender, we have to open the tender. Then opening the tender, the procedure for evaluation of tenders and acceptance of tenders will be followed. Preparation of preliminary evaluation report. Then it has to be scrutinized by tender scrutiny committee. Then evaluation report to be placed before the competent authority for technical responsiveness and open the price bid. Awarding the work, execution of agreement, all should be followed. If the tender inviting authority or tender approving authority decides, they can see the price quoted by the contractor. If it is very high than the SOR or the prevailing market rate, then either negotiation is to be carried out, or the tender may be rejected because of the high quoted rate. The performance security is, it is security the contractor has to pay within 15 days from the letter of acceptance, that is after awarding the work. So it may be maximum up to 5% of the contract value. It is in the form of, the performance securities may be in the form of bank guarantee or NSC, NSS, KVP, post office, time deposits, and or any other form where the department is accepting, or the vendor, if it is private work, according to the acceptance of private owner. Fixed deposits for the required period from nationalized or scheduled bank also accepted. But these are all purely based on the conditions given in the tender documents. In the tender documents itself, EMD should be what is the form, performance security should be what is the form. Many departments they will mention in the document itself. Most of the department are private owners also included what is the form of EMD and ESD. This performance security should be paid within 15 days from the date of awarding the work. Then contract conditions. What are all the contract conditions to be imposed? So the department has to impose the following conditions. That is, they have to incorporate the conditions in the document itself, in the contract document itself. Earnest money deposit not exceeding 1%, that is given in the document itself. 1% of contract value or 1% of the procurement value if it is material. Tender without EMD in the approved form is summarily rejected. That is, without EMD, the tender could not be taken for evaluation. Specify the period of validity of financial bids, normally 90 days as for single cover, 120 days for two cover systems. Security deposit not exceeding 5%, the contractor has to pay after awarding the work. Contract conditions remaining, the mobilization advance shall not exceed 10% of the contract value. Mobilization advance shall be secured against irrevocable bank guarantee. Mobilization advance shall be recorded in subsequent bills along with interest. Then other contract conditions, liquidated damages and penalty payable will be mentioned. The tenderer will be required to quote their financial bid. It should be valid, inclusive of all duties and tax. That is, what is the rate quoted by the contractor should be inclusive of all taxes and duties. So now excess payment regarding the rate will be paid after awarding the work. Price adjustment clause also applicable for large contracts. Receipt and opening. After the submission of tenders by the contractor, the tenderer should receive the tenders, then it has to be opened. The tenders will be opened in the presence of tenderers or one of the representatives or one representative from the tenderer. but either the contractor or either the tenderer or the tenderer's representative should present at the time of opening the tender to witness the price or to witness the opening or any problems noticed to clarify on the time of opening itself. Late bids shall be returned unopened to the tenderer. Suppose if the tender receiving time is 3 o'clock and tender opening time is 3:30, if they mentioned in the tender form or in the NIT, if they mentioned the contractor has to submit the tender within the time limit. And the time tender opening also within the time mentioned itself. Whatever be the time of late, it will not be considered. The members of tender scrutiny committee shall be initial in the main bid, including prices and any corrections. EMD cover also should be verified, and EMD paid by the contractor is in the form requested. That should be verified. Then the tender should be evaluated. After opening the tenders, the tender should be evaluated. The tender evaluation is as per evaluation criteria. Time taken for tender evaluation may need extension of tender validity. Process of tender evaluation to be confidential till awarding the work. We have to check the tenderer has to meet the eligibility criteria and the documents properly signed, EMD furnished properly. Then the tender substantially responsive to the technical specifications, commercial conditions, all we have to verify. Then competent authority approved for tender. After evaluation of tenders, it has to submit before competent authority for approval of tenders. Approval of technical bids is requested. Technical responsiveness first to be given by the competent authorities. Then subsequently, after technical responsiveness, the tender the approval authorities, competent authority will permit to open the price bids. Accordingly, the price bids will be opened and the price will be informed. Corrections of errors. At the time of evaluations, if any corrections find, that should be corrected. For that, the contractor has to approve also. The correction should be accepted by the contractor also. They have to verify. There is any discrepancy between the rate in figures and in words, the lower of the two will be governed. Discrepancies between the rates in figures and in words. Suppose they have write the rate in numbers, then the same also written in words. If the contractor is written in different rate, figure is different, the word written is different, means which is lower, that will be considered. And there is any discrepancy between the unit and the line item total resulting for multiplying the unit rate by the quantity, the unit rate as quoted will be governed. So this is purely the arithmetical corrections will be corrected at the time of evaluation, and the contractor has to see that and verify it, and he has to accept it. So the contractor, after acceptance only, further evaluation will be carried out. Then after evaluation is over and placing to the competent authority for approval, then the work should be awarded to the bidder. The letter of awarding will be given. Letter of acceptance will be provided to the contractor. About the contract price, it was mentioned, and the name of work and contract price, contract period, everything will be mentioned in the letter of acceptance. The employer will pay the contractor in consideration of the execution. That is, the sum of amount to be paid also will be mentioned. Completion period, maintenance, suppose if at all any, all will be mentioned in the letter of acceptance. The notification of award will constitute the formation of the contract, subject only to furnishing the performance security. That is, after awarding the work. After awarding the work, the contractor has to pay the performance security as per the agreement conditions. Okay, what are all the contract problems arise? After awarding the contractor has to do the work as per the progress mentioned in the document, tender document. In the tender document, the milestone chart will be provided. According to the milestone chart, the contractor has to give the progress. The contractor has to submit the progress as per milestone chart. If the contractor has failed to show the progress as per milestone chart, penalty will be imposed. Liquidity damages will come into picture. Extension of time required, it will necessary. Termination of contract is the final. So once if the contractor is not showing appreciable progress as per the tender document, the penalty will be imposed as per the penalty clause furnished in the agreement conditions. The penalty will be imposed on per day basis only. Till the completion of the target quantity, the penalty will be imposed on per day basis. Compensation for delay in completion, that is another type of penalty. If the contractor is doing the work in a delayed manner, any loss to the department, he has to pay. The compensation has to pay by the contractor. That will be informed by the department. Liquidate damages. This liquidate damages also, it is one of the penalty. It is also another type of penalty. How much liquidate damages to be paid by the contractor will be informed in the agreement. This also based on the progress. If the progress is very less and the progress is not as per time schedule given in the agreement, the contractor is liable for liquidate damages. Then the extension of time is what? If the contractor is not completing the work in time as per the contract period, he may need extension of time, or some unavoidable problem arises, or heavy rainfall, or some major issues related to like earthquake or any other unexpected problem arises, or any materials problem, material transportation problems, the contractor need extension of time. So the contractor has to give letter or information letter to the management informing the difficulties to complete the work in time. So based on that, if it is real, the department or the authority will accept the extension of time. The extension of time is beyond the contract period. Termination of contract. Termination of contract is if the contractor is not carrying the work as per the agreement conditions, or he is not able to give progress of work as per agreement conditions, notices will be given to the contractor to carry out the work and show the progress. If the contractor is again not willing to, he could not complete the work in time, or he is not able to give progress in time, or as per agreement conditions, he could not do the work in progress, automatically the notice will be issued by the department. Then they will initiate action to terminate the contract and call again to recall the tenders to create another new contract. So the termination of contract is the final. If contractor is not able to complete the work and he is not show the progress, this type of problems will rise, and these are all the problems in the contracts. Okay, what is arbitration and legal requirements? When the arbitration will arise? It is arbitration is what? Settlement of disputes between the parties and contractor. So it is a dispute. There is a dispute arising between the owner or contractor, or between the department or contractor. Dispute may arise due to progress may not be there in time as per the agreement, or the quality the contractor may not assure the quality as per agreement conditions. So automatically dispute will rise. How to sort out the disputes? So a third party, an arbitrator is a third party who reviews the evidence in the case and imposes a decision that is legally binding on both sides and enforceable in the courts. That is, arbitrator is a third party. He will see the problems, he will review the documents, and he will give solutions. So that is this solution is not in the court. Before going to court, the arbitrator will give some final solutions. It is, if the solution is acceptable by the parties, it is okay. Otherwise, it is invalid. Arbitration is often used to resolve conflict diplomatically to prevent a more serious confrontation. So the contract dispute arises in the contract will be solved by arbitrators. He is a third person. He can verify the evidences and documents, and he will give solution on this. That is called arbitration. Dispute adjudication board. It is another one. A dispute shall be adjudicated by dispute adjudication board. Dispute adjudication board shall comprise either one member or three members. Each party shall nominate one member from the approval of the other party. For the approval of the other party means that is one party is contractor, another party is either department or owner. So if the dispute is arises between the party and owner and contractor, dispute adjudication board will be formed with three members, either contractor or owner. Each the contractor may fix one member, the department may fix another member. Then both these two members will fix the third member, act as a chairman for this DAB. So all the three members will act as a DAB members. They will review all these problems. If the list of potential members is given in the contract document or agreement conditions, if the list of members who are all able to handle this arbitration or adjudication, that from the list the members will be selected, or otherwise they have to get directly. The appointment of DAB expires when the DAB has given its final decisions on the dispute referred to it. Each party is responsible for paying the remuneration. That is one half of this remuneration by each party. What is audit procedures? Audit procedures are used by the auditors to determine the quality of work and information being provided by their clients. So audit procedures, it is purely verification of documents, and each document, as per documents or as per what are all the material procuring document is available. Based on the material procuring document, material is available or not, whether it is procured or not, the procurement is entered in the ledgers or registers, or whether it is utilized or not, all will be verified by the audit party. Classification testing. Audit procedures are used to decide whether the transaction is classified correctly. Accounting records, they will verify. Completeness testing. Audit procedures can test to see if any transactions are missing from the accounting records. They have to see, for example, the client's bank statement could be pursued to see if any payments to supply were not recorded in the books, or if cash receipts from customers were not recorded. The auditors will see all the records, both documents, that is material purchasing receipts, entry receipts, recorded books, everything they will verify. And if any fault, they will note it and inform, and they will report. Cutoff testing. Audit procedures are used to determine whether transactions have been recorded within the correct reporting period. The occurrence test. Audit procedures can be consumed to determine whether the transactions that the client is claiming have actually occurred. For example, any material is incorporated in the ledger along with supporting document, they will verify. Then existency testing. Audit procedures are used to determine whether assets exist. For example, the auditors can observe the inventory being taken to see if the inventory stated in the accounting records are actually exist. Rights and obligation testings. Audit procedure can follow to see if the client has received all the assets. That is valuation testing. Audit procedures are used to determine whether the valuations at which assets and liabilities are recorded in a client's book are correct. For example, one procedure would be to check market pricing data to see if the ending values of market securities are correct or not. A complete set of audit procedures is needed before the auditor has enough information to decide whether a client's financial statements fairly represents its financial results, financial positions, and cash flows. So the audit procedures is very much necessary whether the accounting is properly carried out or not, whether the payment is properly carried out, the material purchasing is okay or not, whether the purchase material is properly paid or not, and the purchased materials is properly entered in the ledger or not, that should be verified. Each and every items of work and materials all will be verified by the auditors, and finally they will submit a report to the authority what is the problem in this, or otherwise if there are no problems they will certify. Based on that audit report, final actions will be initiated by the department authorities. So regarding these contracts, I informing this textbook, data estimating and costing civil engineering may be useful. So these are all the textbooks and reference books. Kindly refer if necessary. Thank you. Thank you all.